think happiness is a journey. You're constantly learning. It's not something that's static. I've had times in my life when I was very, very happy. I've had the ups and the downs. And fortunately, I think the ups outweigh the downs. Julie Dumas, and I'm 74 years old, almost 75. Do I consider myself old? No, not in. Physically, maybe, yeah, but mentally, no. What age would I like to live? I don't know. That's kind of in God's hands. I was born in October 1943 in Worcester, Massachusetts. I grew up partially in Worcester, and then when I was 11 years old, my mom bought a house in the suburbs called Shrewsbury. Mm-hmm. So from 11 until adulthood, I was in the suburbs of Shrewsbury. Whenever the family got together on holidays, this would always get brought up. We had two cats that were my cats. There were two black cats that I had for 18 years. And this one Christmas, male cat, Midnight, he decided he was going to run up the trunk of the Christmas tree. And when he did, the Christmas tree fell. And it fell right in the back of me. It scraped my back. And I didn't even move. It didn't faze me in the least. And I can remember both my mother and my grandmother looking at each other and saying, "She's a survivor." Very happy-go-lucky. Life was very much more simple at that time. Of course, it was before computers or the internet or any of that. I mean, we got home from school, we went outside to play. I think that's why my generation is, for the most part, more healthy than the younger generation. I mean, we couldn't wait to get out of our school clothes and get out and play. We did jump rope, we did skating, the old skates, the old metal skates that you had to hook onto your shoes with a key. But they were fun times, and it was all innocent fun. Well, one would be my portrait here. I've had that thing with me since I was 19 years old. Let's see. Other possessions. I can't think of anything else that I really put that much value in. I mean, that portrait is a reminder of a time in my life when I was very, young and adventurous. And I like to think that I'm still that way. But as far as the rest, possessions, I think the best possessions we have is our inner ability to be, I guess, to be nice to other people. I wanted to be an airline stewardess. That's what they call them, stewardesses. But when I applied to the airlines, they told me I was too thin. So then I applied to the Coast Guard. And I got the same answer. I was too thin. So that led me on a journey that I wound up in New Orleans, Louisiana, where my brother was already living because he had been in the Air Force Reserve and stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi. So I was with him and his wife and their new daughter, and I was looking for a secretarial job, and I couldn't find anything that would pay me enough money to get my own place. So my sister-in-law showed me an ad that was in the paper, and she said it was there all the time. And it was an ad for Playboy Club Bunny. She didn't know what it was, and neither did I. I was only 19. So I went down to the club, and I walked in, and I saw this girl in this skimpy outfit, and I says, I think I'm in the wrong place. And she saw the ad in my hand, and she said, no, you're in the right place. So I says, why not? I'll give it a shot. I've been turned down by the airlines and the Coast Guard. There's no way I'm going to get hired for this. I got hired. And the rest is history, as they say. I was protected more at Playboy than any other place. Hugh Hefner was so meticulous in portraying the girl next door image. That's what he wanted for the Playboy. This was not Playboy magazine or the Playmates. It was just the clubs. And it was like, if a man touched you like this, he got thrown out. There was no fraternizing with any of the customers. None of that. So I can say I was very well protected. The best years of my life, I'd probably say when I was married to my second husband. And unfortunately, well, we were together for almost 10 years, but we were only married for 2 before he passed away. And I would love to go back to reliving those. I met him in a dance, and actually he would only ask me to dance fast dances. And about 4 months after we were going together, I asked him, I said, why did you only ask me to dance fast dances and not any slow dances that first night? And he said, Julianne, he says, I remember that pink sundress you had on. And he says, you looked so fragile. He says, I thought if I held you in my arms, I would want to squeeze you tight, and I would be afraid that I would break you. He says, but now that we know each other better, he says, I have to admit you're the strongest woman I've ever known. Happiest moment in my life probably would have been when I married my second husband. I mean, we were soulmates. I crocheted my own wedding gown. In fact, the night before we were married, I was still working on the ruffles, and that morning I said, there's no way I'm going to be able to finish this, so I had to abandon the ruffles. But I still have the gown. My parents were divorced when I was just a baby, so I have no knowledge of my father. But my mother, probably to work hard and, don't give up on your dreams. Just have a strong work ethic, which I've always adhered to. I had a best friend when we were living in the city in Worcester. But once we moved to Shrewsbury, that we just didn't keep in touch. And then in high school, I had a very good friend. And in fact, her husband was the cousin of the boy that I was going out with.
Oh,
And we stayed in touch for several years, but no longer. Well, I think we were a little bit more open and honest. You know, we didn't go in for the vitriol that you see sometimes now. You know, I mean, I know I can only speak for myself, but I don't like, you know, the name calling and the nastiness. I don't recall ever having situations like that when I was a teenager. I don't think so. I don't think I'd want to be young now. The young people today have so many things in their lives that are scary. This whole shootings in schools. I mean, we ducked and covered, which was stupid. But against an atomic bomb, we ducked under our desks. It wasn't going to help if a bomb did actually fall, but we didn't have all of these school shootings. I don't know how these kids, how they cope with it. Old expression. If I could go back years and know what I know now, that would be one big deal. Well, I think it's better now because I'm not afraid to speak my own mind. I don't feel intimidated by anyone. Well, my finances aren't in the greatest shape, but I've been in situations like that before. I'll probably be in them again. You know, eventually they always work out in the end. I love to crochet. I've been doing that for decades. Of course, I play around on Facebook. I do a lot of research on the internet. Like if I see something on TV that interests me, I'll Google it and want to find out more about it. I'm a very curious person. What am I most afraid of? There's very few things that I am afraid of, so that's a tough one. I mean, I'm not afraid of flying. I love to fly. I love the ocean. I guess what I'm most fearful of is that I'll get to a point where I won't be able to manage for myself. Well, there's an old expression. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. And sometimes family has disappointed me. Whereas a few good friends I've had for a long time, they've stuck by me through thick and thin. Most important human qualities. I think having compassion for your fellow man and be willing to help others who are maybe not as fortunate as you are. biggest mistake of my life. I tend to want to say getting married the first time, but I've thought about this in more recent years. If I had not married my first husband, I wouldn't have my son. So I can't say that the marriage was a mistake, because in saying that, I'm saying that my son is a mistake. So, just can't go that route. No. I mean, I don't, as painful as some episodes in my life have been, I don't think I'd change anything. Because I grew through the mistakes. I think I am more able to express my empathy for other people than I was when I was younger. What age do I consider to be old? I don't know. Ask me that question when I'm 100. Being prepared for old age, I think it's just a natural process. I mean, look to your ancestors and see how they did it. And my grandmother, she lived to be 92 years old. She was a saint. Advice to younger people: don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid to stand up for your own values and your own standards. And let's see, don't let anybody intimidate you. Have I accomplished everything in life that I wanted? I don't think anybody has. I think I'd be arrogant if I said I had. I think my legacy on life would be like the old Sinatra song, I did it my way. Because I did. I mean, I went against the norms, back in the day. And it wasn't that I didn't care, it's just that I felt that some of the norms were outdated. I was progressive from the very beginning.